Hey everyone, it's Isha. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm doing a brown smoky eye makeup look and gamit ko lang tong dalawang palette by Squad Cosmetics. Unang palette is their Squad Nude Eyeshadow Palette and ito naman is yung Squadlet in the shade Sneaky. So, if you wanna know how I achieved this look, then just keep on watching. So, as my usual routine, I'm gonna start off with moisturizing my face. And I'm gonna make sure na meron din akong i-apply na moisturizer sa leeg ko. So, next step is sunscreen and this is the most important part kasi this will keep my skin protected kahit naka-wear ako ng makeup. And as you saw, nagamit ako ng amount na sakop yung isang buong daliri ko and enough na yun para sa buong mukha ko at leeg. Now, to prime my face, gamit ko tong Go-To Silicone Primer by The Ordinary. And i-apply ko lang siya sa buong mukha ko. Now, I'm using a full coverage foundation by Fenty Beauty. And what I'm doing here is I'm gonna apply dots sa kabilang side ng face ko. Then, I'm just gonna blend it out. This is to ensure na hindi agad magsiset sa mukha ko yung product and madali pa siyang i-blend since matte foundation nga ito. Then, ayan, I'm just doing the same thing on the other side of my face. I'm using a brow powder naman for my brows and I'm gonna use an angled brush in applying it. So, as usual, I'm gonna start lining my brows according sa brow shape ko. And then, i-fill in ko lang siya until satisfied na ako with how it looks. Then, i-blend ko lang siya with spoolie brush. To conceal my under eyes, I'm using a full coverage concealer as well. Then, i-apply ko lang siya sa inner corner ng under eyes ko and then sa outer corner to give that lifting effect sa eyes ko. Then, I'm just blending everything out with the damp sponge and I make sure na biniblend ko siya papunta rin sa eyelids ko para yun yung mag-serve as eyeshadow primer ko. Then, I'm just cleaning up my brows with the same concealer. Then, I'm starting off my smoky eye with this brown shade from Squadlet and i-apply ko siya sa lids ko with a flat fluffy brush. So, dito binibuild up ko siya from my inner corner papunta sa middle part ng lids ko and I make sure na hindi ako lalagpas ng crease ko. Now, I'm using the darker brown shade from the same palette and i-apply ko siya on my outer lids using a pencil brush. And I make sure na I blend it out together with the lighter brown shade I applied kanina. Now, I'm using the middle shade from Nude Eyeshadow Palette and yun yung i-apply ko sa crease ko. I'm using a fluffy blending brush and I make sure I blend it out together with the earlier shades na in-apply ko kanina. Using the same shade, ilalagay ko naman siya sa lower lash line ko. And then, i-clean out ko lang yung eyeshadow ko with konting concealer. Now, ita-tightline ko lang yung upper waterline ko with a brown eyeliner. This is to ensure na buo yung magiging look ng eyeshadow makeup ko and wala siyang gap if that makes sense. I'm also applying a black eyeshadow on my lash line and ginagamitan ko siya ng small angled brush lang. I'm doing this kasi bala kong maglagay ng false eyelashes. This is to ensure na kapag applied na yung false eyelashes, hindi halata yung lash band. Then, nililinis ko lang yung mga fallouts and then I'm just gonna curl my lashes for mascara. Now, I'm using Moncherie Mascara by Tiviant. And as usual, in applying it, I start from the base of my lashes and then iwiwiggle ko siya pataas. I-build up ko lang yung mascara hanggang satisfied na ako sa length and volume ng eyelashes ko. And I'm just putting some on my lower lash line as well. To set my under eyes, gamit ko tong powder by Nichido. I'm just gonna set my under eyes lightly, not to the point na magbe-bake na ako sa under eyes ko. Now, I'm gonna contour my nose using this contour stick by Caroline. And gagamitan ko to ng fluffy angled brush and I make sure i-connect ko yung contour lines from my brows down to my nose. Then, ibe-blend ko lang siya with this shorter edge of my damp sponge. A-add lang ako ng konting concealer to highlight my nose and then I'll just blend everything out. Then, isiset ko lang with powder. I'm gonna use this bronzer by Fenty Beauty just to warm my face up a little bit. Ia-apply ko lang siya above my cheeks, temples, and forehead. For my blush, gamit ko tong color tint in the shade Ocean and mag-a-apply lang ako ng dots on my cheekbones before blending it out. Bine-blend out ko siya pataas sa cheekbones ko para magkaroon ng lifting effect yung mukha ko. Now, to highlight my face, gamit ko tong strobe stick by Caroline and ang ginagawa ko is idadab ko yung brush mismo dito and then i-apply ko sa cheekbones ko, nose, and cupid's bow. Now, for my lips, gamit ko ang color tint in the shade Robin. And what I'm doing here is i-apply ko yung product sa lips ko and then just blend everything out using my fingers. Now, last step is just to apply my falsies. I-apply ko siya using tweezers and then I make sure na ipapress in ko siya to make sure na nag-stick talaga siya sa skin or sa lids ko. So, this is the final look and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If may gusto kayong suggestions ng tutorials or content, just let me know in the comment box. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on my next one. Au revoir mes amours.